I quiet enough for you?
No, it's loud. You still yell. It still hit the red.
I don't care. Hits the red. I tried.
What's up,
I really did
everybody?
try to tone it
I'm
down.
Judge
I'm Judge
James.
Evie.
This is Living for
I
Crits. It's
tried.
Sunday night,
It is
and
Sunday night.
we're here to talk about gaming stuff and everything. We're at 150 subscribers. Did I say this before?
That's not subscribers. Those
Well,
are
followers, whatever.
Subscribers
Subscribers.
are YouTube.
We're at 1,000 and some odd over there. I don't know what the. I don't. I'm not good with the maths.
Maths.
Yeah, I'm not good. That's plural.
Maths.
You know, I'm getting better at. So a hot news point is I'm working on my Spanish again. So about 2 years ago, I tried to pick, or 3 years ago, two and a half years ago, I tried to pick up Spanish, working with like just Duolingo, which really, you know, let's just say that Duolingo really needs to work on whatever algorithm they work on. For instance, like one of the questions today on my this is like nursery school level Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, you're a native Spanish speaker. I'm sure there's a lot of cringe in there, but like it's like which one of these is like el hotel, the hotel? No, which one is the like the la restaurante? And there's a number one, a picture of a restaurant, and a number two. It's like which one's the restaurant?
Two.
No, there was number. It was the number one, a picture of a restaurant, and the number two. You had to pick one. The next question was like, which one is the letter do? Is the number dos? And there was a number one, a picture of like a hotel, and a number two. And it's like, that is the stupidest. I'm working on, but other stuff it's not too bad with. You know, like basic stuff like yo como manzanas.
I have no idea what that means.
Tu comes manzanas?
What?
Do you eat apples?
We.
There we go. There we go. Right into the French. But knowing that that this time around, not just gonna like try some basic software. What I'm just figure this way. This time around, I'm gonna do that because it's works on vocabulary and stuff like that. But also got like stickers to put around the house to label things in the house in Spanish, which I'm gonna do. And then I've been watching. I've been watching videos. Let me go get one. I've been watching YouTube videos of actual plays, and I don't even like actual plays, but I figure context-wise, it could be helpful for me. And I was online asking people to give me advice um, on stuff that they play or they Spanish-speaking YouTube videos and podcasts, and I got quite a fit a few a fit. I got quite a fit, and I'm trying to find out some of the ones that I got. Where's my list of subscriptions?
Somewhere.
Why is this not saying like all the things I subscribe to? Like how do I do that? This is crap, man. This is not even organized. Oh, Roll NL is what I was listening to earlier this week. So I was listening to they had D&D Fulgor, Federico, number I guess numero uno, and it was one of the fifth edition fantasy adventures by Michael Curtis. So I was listening to that, and I pick up like one in every 10 words or so. I work with a lot of people who are native Spanish speakers, so like I understand more than I can say. But I did find, I'm not going to say the whole thing, I did find the back of the DCC cover translated in Spanish. Yeah, the back of Clásicos del Mazmorio. No eres un héroe. Eres un aventurero, un saqueador, un ratero, un azote de infieles, un hermético hechicero que guarda secretos olvidados. I butchered it. I have a real hard time in some ways with Spanish or any of those any of the Romance languages. That's fine. Especially since I know a little Italian. I took a year of Spanish in middle school, and then I took 3 years of French, and took a tiny bit of Latin. And it's like all that stuff. Like trying to count is problematic for me. Like uno, deux, tres, cuatro, cinque. I just go back and forth from Spanish to English to Italian. No, cinque is Italian. And de is French. Okay. Anyway, I will say, I did find the translation from other-selves.com. And as I am working on my Spanish,
No,
if
it's
anyone,
www.other-selves.com /
you don't need to put www in.
I just did.
If anyone has any
Well, it's
advice for
actually
me on how to help me or any thoughts, my goal is to at some point be able to at least play an RPG in Spanish. That's like, that's where I want to be. I think that'd be cool to play in a different language. So, life goal. Um, other
Hashtag
other
life goal.
other life goals. Judge Evie found a way to min max our Demon Lord game yesterday.
No, I didn't.
You did.
You said it'd be a cool thing to do.
I did. I didn't think you would center it on. Tell our viewers what you did yesterday.
Well, I did a thing where I made everything dark so I could like do cool shadow knives and like get like all these like cool damage points and stuff. And it was pretty swag.
So Judge Evie's rogue in Shadow the Demon Lord at second level took some magic and can now cast some shadow magic from the Shadow School. In Shadow the Demon Lord, rogues at second level, they get the ability to get like a roguish power, a roguish ability, and it could be something like a better backstab or more thiefy skills. Judge Evie took magic, the idea being that rogues can dabble a bit. And she has two spells, and they're pretty deadly daisy chained. And the one is to create a sphere of darkness around something, and the other is she has a shadow knife that she can summon she can like shank people with, for extra damage. And it works great if you've cast the first spell. But Judge Evie summoned the first spell in the middle of the party, making it so everyone was blinded except for her, and everyone had 3 banes to their roll except for you. Fortunately, one of the other characters, played by our friend Shannon, her character is a clockwork magician, was able to cast a spell to see in the darkness with a magical spell. So that at least was helpful. But that was you min-maxing a scene.
I didn't mean to.
Nice job.
I didn't mean to.
Let's move into Judge Evie Presides. This is the part of the show where you can send questions to dccjudgeevie@gmail.com. Judge Evie, first question.
Hi, what?
First question.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to defend myself from you.
From me.
Yeah, because you make me sound like a bad person. Who's Babu Frick? Y'all have to get me.
First question. Who's it from?
Is it Stefan or Steve?
It's Steven. How do you not know how to pronounce the word name Steven?
I always think it's Stefan.
No, it's Steven.
But that means a F sound.
Just keep going.
Right?
Keep going.
Well, sometimes it's pronounced Stefan.
No, only if it's Phan.
Okay, well, what?
Just read the question.
Okay.
Sorry, Steven Murrow.
Have you played the following games? And can you give a short review?
Go ahead.
Shadows of Estern, King in Yellow, and Deadlands 2.
Do you want me to?
Well, not Deadlands like the number 2, like just like.
Okay,
2.
and then keep going. So next section.
Also thoughts on upcoming games. Savage Worlds, Pathfinder, Weird Frontiers, and Zombie Fight. As always, thanks, Steven.
Is
it Steven?
Yeah. So have we played Shadows of Estern?
I don't know.
No, we haven't played that.
So.
We played The King in Yellow?
No.
No. We played Deadlands?
Yes.
We played Deadlands?
Played that.
Yeah, here and there. We've done some Deadlandsing. I have a pretty large Deadlands collection.
Can you see it?
No, it's not on the shelves anymore.
Oh.
Because I don't play it anymore. Deadlands is cool. If you like weird westerns and whatnot. If it's the Savage World system, unless you're gonna play the old Deadlands classic, which I've played both Deadlands. And it's one of those games that I always kind of want to run a campaign of it, or wanted to run a campaign of it, and I got to it, and I sort of fizzled out. Mechanically, the only campaign I've done well for a long-term Savage Worlds campaigning was when we did East Texas University. Thoughts on upcoming games. Savage Worlds Pathfinder. My only thought is, why? I don't understand why that's a thing. you know, that's like kind of saying you're gonna play. At least in my mind, you're gonna play Fantasy Age Alternity or something. I don't. I understand Savage Pathfinder has like adventure paths in its own setting and whatnot, but I don't know why those two are mixing. Um, so I wasn't involved in it. I didn't kickstart it. So I have nothing to say about it. Weird Frontiers, hell yeah. So that's the game formerly known as Dark Trails, and I think it's like 19 inches thick, you know, and that I am super hyped for
It's gonna
that.
look so swag.
It's gonna be like this thick on the shelf, thicker than Talus.
Thicker than tallest.
Yeah, it's more
Are we gonna have
pages.
to lift
It's
weights? Are
800
we gonna have to
pages.
lift that too?
I don't know. Our shelf's gonna have a hard time with it. I've had a chance to play Weird Frontiers. I've had a chance to GM Weird Frontiers as a playtester, and it's a great game. So if you like weird westerns or westerns in general, and you want to play something that has that feel of, um, of Dungeon Crawl Classics, it's DCC in the West, which you can kind of. I mean, there are other. I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's other adventures like the um, Obadiah Falconer. I can't remember the first couple words of that, but that adventure by Stephen Newton is a DCC western. But Weird Frontiers has these. It just takes each DCC class and makes it crazy and adds new DCC classes. So if you ever want to be a luchador, like body slamming zombies, that's the game for you.
Like the erasers?
Yeah. What's the erasers?
The luchadors.
Oh yeah, like the erasers. Yeah. Zombified. I don't know what that is, so I apologize, Steven. I'm not the best at reaching out and trying new games. So the new game the last new game that I started reading was the new Dune RPG, which so far it's a dice pool game, and I didn't know that, and I don't know if I would have got it if I knew it was a dice pool game because I typically don't like dice pool games. You know what a dice pool game is?
A game where there's lots of dice.
Where you roll a bunch of dice and you count how many dice hit a certain number.
I don't like that. There's too much.
There you go.
It's too much messing.
You like Pathfinder, don't you?
Shut up. I do not.
All right, good question, Steven.
I'm
Next
so
question.
scared.
Next question.
That was it was, and then he said.
Same question for Steven.
Forgot.
What are your DCC?
So what are your
DCC day plans? Day plans.
Banks.
Right now, our DCC day plans don't involve any DCC. Right now, my plans are that my wife and I are going to take Cooper maybe up to New York City for the day to go to the Nintendo store.
Me, who made sure I would be getting back in time so we could play DCC.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we're coming home early now. I was like, because you were like, we gotta do this thing. I was like,
well, we'll see. Maybe we'll alter our plans a bit that week. Maybe we'll take Cooper up during the day, and we'll do something else that day. I don't know. Right now, there's no plans. I did not see any stores in Pennsylvania or Delaware participating. Oh, my part of Pennsylvania.
Bruh.
I know, crazy, right?
Bruh.
There's like 2 stores in PA. Neither are near us, and there's no stores in Delaware. Phantom's not doing it.
Bruh.
I know, but it doesn't matter. We're not out there anyway.
Who cares?
Let's do the wrap.
Let's wrap it
Remember,
up.
you can always send questions to dcc.ev@gmail.com. Time for the wrap. This is the She-Ra wrap by
Why
Greg.
Did you say it like that? You were like She-Ra wrap.
She-Ra wrap.
She-Ra wrap.
Okay.
The
What should we do?
Honorable Otter of Grayskull.
Okay. Ready? Here we go.
A long time ago, or on last week's show, met a creature both loyal and true. Uneternally born, a world that's war-torn, which makes our protagonist blue. Like the otters of Earth, he was once full of mirth. Skeletor and Horde that are both pains. As the guest host revealed, princesses in the field form deep friendships in both sun and rain. While the otter stands guard in the gatehouse any yard of a fortress with odd bony face. He waits in the back, keeps the whole thing on track, accepting his fate with good grace. Thanks, Jim.
I spit all over my hand.
We did.
Well, thank you, Greg, for the this week's wrap. As always, if you want to send raps to us, that works too.
Hmm.
I don't know why this is a thing on the show now, but since Greg's been with us for 2 years, 2 years, no, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years.
Guess what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow's our
3-year
three-year
Philly-versary.
anniversary of living in Philly.
Hmm.
Just speaking of living in Philly and breaking away from Pittsburgh, let's discuss splitting the party. So our topic tonight, splitting the party, and it's a topic. I was thinking of what a topic would be, and like we typically do, I don't come up with a topic until the two of us at like about 5 o'clock on a
No, it's a
Sunday,
lot later than that.
7 o'clock on a Sunday. Say, what's the topic going to be tonight?
Sometimes 8:30.
And if we don't have one, we just pray to Crom. There's a whole bunch of questions to do an Ask Judge Evie week.
Hmm.
But this week we had one because on my Fantasy Age game on Wednesday, we had an interesting moment where one of our players split the party, and I don't just fun fact. I hate when the party. I hate splitting the party. I hate it as a player and a GM. I hate it. Like there's very few
It's
things
so annoying. And you
I
can't do
despise more
anything.
than when the party gets broken up.
Yeah.
More because it means more work for me as a GM,
That
and
too.
I'm a lazy as hell game master. So I thought we could cover this tonight because I don't think we ever covered it really at length. We may have covered it or touched on it in the show or whatever, but not as a whole episode. So tonight it's about splitting the party. And have you like as a GM when you've run your games, has the party ever broken up and gone into two separate areas?
Well, there was the one where the person just refused to go.
Well, I think we're going to cover that here because that is an issue of like why players decide to it's a good idea because one of the cardinal rules in role playing games is don't split the party.
Never split the party.
So when that one character, I won't say player, but when the one character goes moron and decides they want to go off on their own, why do they do it? So how did it happen in your game when that happened?
I don't even remember half of it, but it was the first one. Remember?
It was your first time you role played. It was
Yeah.
the first scene.
Yeah.
And Jeremy didn't want to go in
No.
the adventure.
He's like, I'm not going in. And you were like, well, just kill him. And I was like, okay. So it's like, you're going in and you're dead. And I think he died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just died.
In our game was a little different than that. In our game, the Mark's character, his character is essentially a handgunner in Fantasy Age. He specializes using an arquebus and a blunderbuss, and he didn't want to get his powder wet, so he didn't want to go into the. What are you doing?
Messing with my
Stop.
nail.
Pay attention to the show.
I am.
He didn't want to get his powder wet, so he didn't want to go into the watery part of the cave, which was where the party moved towards. So let's what other reasons would the party split and break up? Infighting, if the party's like arguing amongst themselves and half want to go one way and half want to go the other, that happens.
Yeah.
Greg says some traps split the party, and he rarely uses them. And you're right. The GM could split the party, right? So the GM
I
could
don't know
decide.
why they want to do that.
But maybe it's common in storytelling for cinema, right? And
That's
books
true.
to have the party split. It's just I think it's harder for a GM. Mumfrey says often it happens when one of the Scooby Doo gang leans against a wall and they fall through a pivoting panel and voila, party is split. Very true. You have the Scooby Doo moment. In our scene, you get our game. Maybe when one of the party members is just done with
They're just done.
they're just done. They've just had enough.
They're gone.
You know. And let's go into why it creates a challenge for a GM. So for you, when if you were to have a party break up at a game, what would be hard for you? Why would it be hard for you to run that scene?
Well, first off, it's kind of just confusing because you don't know who's where. You know.
But if they're gonna tell you where they go, though.
I know, but like then you're gonna be like so you'll be like telling the one half of the party or whoever, right? You're gonna like spending all your time with them like doing all that stuff, and the other person's gonna be like, oh, you should do this, and you're gonna be like, well, you're not there, and they're gonna be like, what? And they're gonna be like, well, you split up, and they're gonna get angry because they can't contribute because they're not there.
So, would you think it's best to let the non-existing players contribute story-wise to the character, or out of game
But
to
like
the?
they're gonna be like,
It's metagaming, but
no. They were like the one. I had this happen before. They were like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna attack. And I'm like, but you're not there. It was in one of my con games. I was like, I'm like, you're not.
well, look, if they're trying to attack when they're not in the
They
scene,
weren't
that's
there
I,
because
I
they
get
split
you.
up.
Well,
So
that's
how are you supposed to let them attack
you can't.
and like
That's
look around the room if they're not there?
I'm not even talking about attacking. I'm talking about like just contributing in like talking. Not
Oh,
you
you
definitely
can
wouldn't.
talk, but like
But
you're not gonna.
should they be allowed to talk?
I mean, if they don't, that's just like they're gonna go hands. They're gonna throw hands.
What does throw hands mean?
Like they're gonna angry.
Is that what throw hands means? I think we need a moment of like of Judge Evie giving us a little bit of like Gen Z translation because it's one of those moments that like one of the party members runs off and it's like, is Bestie gonna be okay? So to the point of why it creates a challenge for the GM, I think it splits the attention of the game master. So you now have to think about two groups, and I like to have the entire table engaged, and I always feel like someone's not engaged when the party is split. If there's ever a moment that players are going to drift to their iPhones or their computers or their browsers if it's online, it's going to be when the party is split. Greg says, I'm in a group where every character has a mind link badge so we can communicate in case we split. That's awesome. And I think that works really great in a modern setting. Because we have had, if you remember, I'm trying to remember what game this was, when we were playing East Texas University, I made that one adventure based on the movie Can't Hardly Wait. Remember that?
No.
Where you guys there was like the kegger party and the vampires are there,
Oh
and you guys did
yeah.
break up to invade, but you all had your phones with you, so you could communicate. I think that's a situation in a modern game where it's fine. Or Greg, it sounds like if you have mind link badges, they could, whether it's psionic or in a fantasy setting or is it like a sci-fi setting. I think that makes sense. I think I'm thinking more of when the party is split with two separate stories is where it's a challenge. Um, if the adventure is built around it, I think it's fine. But if you're in a dungeon crawl or any kind of maze situation, especially when there's encounters involved, and if you are running a game that has more of a mechanism for balancing encounters, like D&D or Pathfinder, what happens when that lone or Fantasy Age? What happens when that lone Fantasy Age gnome runs into a uh, way too many Walking Dead than they should have?
They're screwed.
Well, as a GM though, should I have, if that had happened? Let's say Mark's character had walked off. Should I have toned down the scene or let him just walk into all the Walking Dead?
I mean, he was the one that walked off in the first place.
Agreed.
So like, okay, so this is kind of like mean, but like depending on the person, if they're
From
like,
you, it's mean.
if they had like a
Surprise.
meaningful reason to walk off, if that ever happened, like don't like give them thunder. But if they're just being like a,
See, don't give him thunder.
yeah, whatever it's called.
What does it mean? Don't give him thunder.
Like
Is that also Gen
heat.
Z?
Like don't give them the heat.
Don't give him the heat.
Like if they're like.
Is this more Gen Z language?
No.
Is Bestie gonna give
Everyone
the thunder?
just says this.
Who says give him the thunder?
I don't know. But like, if they're like just being like stuck up and like, no, I'm not going there. I'm gonna go my own way. Then yeah, you're stuck with it. No.
don't worry about it.
Then you're kind of just stuck with like they deserve that. But if they like have a nice reason, then they shouldn't get bombarded. But if they're being a jerk, then yeah, because heck you.
I think that there is such a thing as like that short-term split and a long-term split. So if it's about reconnaissance, like was it?
I don't know what that means. What's a reconnaissance?
You know what reconnaissance means?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. It means
Really
scouting
don't.
ahead.
Oh, I know it's
Wasn't
called.
it you that went and investigated the body yesterday in the game?
Yeah, and I stole its eyeballs.
Right. Judge Evie's character in Shadow the Demon Lord is what's your character?
I'm a grave robber and
Right.
a torturer.
Right, but what's your character's name?
Dorit.
And what's your ancestry?
What's it called again?
You're a Cambion, so you're part
Yeah.
demon. You're a demon.
I'm a
You're
demon.
Cambion rogue. So Judge Evie's character, when the orc was too horrified to approach the scene of this crime, because we're playing kind of a crime game where like they're investigators.
The Criminal Minds.
It's the Criminal Minds Shadow the Demon Lord game.
Yeah.
The orc, the burly orc Guar, played by our friend Cody, went to walk up and investigate and was just horrified and ran off. And you walked up to. So the next scene was your
I was
character
smart.
mostly.
I closed my nose.
And so you pinched your nose to not smell
Yeah.
the poo, the blood poo, or whatever it was.
Yep.
But that's like a short-term break where Judge Evie's character or any of your party's thief or rogue or ranger or scout moves ahead to go investigate. I think that's a short-term party split, and that's more the rest of the characters are sort of involved in nearby. I'm thinking more of this is an issue when you have the characters where it's like you're at a crossroads and three of the characters go left and three of the characters go west.
That's where it's the worst. Like if
Yeah.
it's like a split in like a big room, like it's not as bad. But if it's like I want to go left, well, I want to go right, and they're like wee, then it's annoying.
So what are good ways to deal with it? I was thinking of how I deal with this, and I try to split my time between the sets of people. If I'm at a live table, I will sometimes ask them to get on the side of where they've split. What's nice with Zoom is I can reorganize where their names are or where their faces are on the Zoom panel. So I can look at either side to see who is where. And then I may have them, as soon as one group gets into combat, I may have them roll initiative, but have them all roll initiative to see how the actions are going on each side. Another option, and this is how I used to do it when I was a kid. When I was in high school, we were playing second edition Dungeons and Dragons. If the party split up, I would excuse the players who weren't there from the room and send them outside or into like the den of my old house in Levittown and not let them be in the scene at all. So I used to play in the living room and I'd kick them out.
Kick out.
So that's always an option.
I mean, if you're like at a con game and the people splitting up are just like the worst people I've ever met and they're completely rude people, you could just send them to like the Pathfinder room instead.
Oh my gosh. You mean the room you're gonna hang out at? Because you're all
No.
Pathfinder now.
That's not true.
You love Pathfinder now. You're playing
I've
it.
never even played it before.
I thought you're gonna play it.
I don't know. We make characters. I don't even know.
The question is
anything
gonna be:
about
Will you guys get to Pathfinder before I get those guys to Demon Lord?
Probably not. We stuck at scheduling.
It's true. How do you guys handle splitting the party? You've heard from Mumphrey and Greg, and we appreciate it. But it could be a challenge. I think it's something that new GMs can struggle with because every character you want to make sure your player characters have agency at the table and they can do things. But you also don't. It's a game for you too as a GM, and you don't want to. You want to have a good time, and you don't want to have to like. I hate having to think back and forth of, are they having fun? Are they having fun? Are they having fun? Are they having fun? Especially if half the party goes off on their phones.
Whee!
So, all right. Well, let's wrapping it up. This week's Kickstarter shoutouts don't have any yet.
No, it's XX.
We do know in 2 weeks, Dying Earth, DCC Dying Earth is going to kickstart, so that'll be pretty cool. We got a comment here. Mumfrey says, have only had to actually move players to another room if we were playing in a mystery trader type game. Good point. And in horror games, it also is wise to do such things too. My advice. Back to Kickstarters. When the Kickstarter information's out, I will post it. No Road Crew shout outs. We do have our first events in the tavern. We are going to have special guests on the 4th of July.
All the guests.
So that weekend, just so you know, there will be we'll be recording a live glow burn with me and Judge Mark here in the tavern, and we'll be streaming it as well. So it'll be a glow burn show probably hosted on Twitter, on Twitch. It'll be a glow burn edition of Living for Crits that weekend on the 3rd of July. We don't have the time set yet, but it'll also go to YouTube. And then on the 4th of July, that night, there will be a special Living for Crits with whoever is here in the Walls Dungeon Tavern for that weekend. I'm not sure which game we're playing on the 4th of July. It's up in the air right now. But it's going to be some portying. So there you go. All right, so Judge Edie, where can folks find us?
They can find us at I Live for Crits on Twitter. Living for Crits on Instagram and search Living for Crits on YouTube.
So be safe, be healthy, be kind, and my outro ASMR is going to be give them the thunder.
We're gonna party with all our besties on July the 4th.
All right, good night, everybody.
Bye.